Hi Chris, how are you?
Good evening, Rod. Yes, I'm well. Here we are. It's episode
217.
22nd of March, and it's been a beautiful day.
It's been pretty good. I drove from Swansea to Cardiff. I had to move my eldest briefly out of university. It was glorious in Swansea. It was quite cloudy in Cardiff, sort of a bit overcast, and then glorious when I got back to Swansea. So, yeah.
Welcome home to Swansea. It's been beautiful here all day. I absolutely loved it. So nice to have a bit of warmth. It was weird going out and going, I don't think I need a coat, which is always a good point of the year.
Or indeed a jumper. I went out in just a t-shirt.
I did need a jumper.
You see, I'm a hardy Scottish man, and I can occasionally just do with a t-shirt.
Yeah, you're more manly than me. I'll let you have it.
You know that the weather's improving in South Wales because I don't want to use that pejorative term, all the younger gentlemen of a particular age, it's suns out, guns out time.
I was just about to say guns out.
Yeah, the t-shirts come off, taps off, as we'd say in Scotland. Yeah,
is that a saying?
Yeah, tops off, taps off. It's a Scottish equivalent of suns out, guns out. And yeah, there they were, walking on the promenade, promenading on the promenade even, I think, like peacocks showing off their... yeah. So yeah, that was fun. Should we do some follow-up?
Here in the Cotswolds, we don't get our guns out when the sun's out. Just saying.
Yeah, it's. I think it's a particularly Welsh thing, but taps off is a thing. Yeah, good. Follow-up?
Yep, let's do it.
So straight off the bat, we have Microsoft obviously reading the room a little bit for the first time in a very long time, and apparently insisting that it's deeply committed to the quality of Windows 11. And the very first sort of quotes in this article from Ars Technica last week impresses me. Reducing unnecessary Copilot entry points. I mean, there's a management speak statement. Have you ever seen one?
Yeah, entry points. You mean cruft. This is quite interesting because I didn't realise that Windows 11, you couldn't move the taskbar. So you could do it on Windows 10, you could do it on previous versions of Windows, I think even back like to 95. Because I've been using, what's it called? Azure Virtual Desktop. So on my iPad, I've got an Azure Virtual Desktop for work purposes, but it's really annoying when the taskbar's right at the bottom where the Apple swipey indicator is to, close the Windows app. And I was like, I just chuck the taskbar to the side. That'll be fine for what I need to do. Can't do it. I was like, what? You've always been able to do that. And then this came up in this very article of one of the points of, we're also going to make it so you can move the taskbar because we've never done that before. So it does feel that some of their decisions have been a bit odd to me. Why they didn't allow that to move, why they've bloated it with Copilot everywhere. And then they're also talking about the default widgets are going to be less, I can't remember how they phrased it, less in your face kind of thing, less chatty. And it's just... come on, I do think Windows 11 is pretty good. It's got some character to it. I think it looks good. Rod's shaking his head for everybody. And not that I choose to use it personally on a daily basis, but I do have to use it from time to time. But there's just some of these things that they should have down now. And Apple is equally just as guilty about software quality at the moment. But it's interesting to see. I had to reread the article. I was like, I didn't realise Windows was having an Apple quality moment as well.
Yeah, I think it's a bit harsh on Apple, actually, to compare the disaster that's Windows 11 with Tahoe. Tahoe looks bad, but it still performs okay. In the main, there's some bugs and things like that. But the egregious mess that is Windows 11 is a whole different thing. I do have to use Windows 11 every day because I remote into it. And it's slow and baggy and nags me, and it just generally drives me crazy. The change from our Windows 10 virtual desktops to Windows 11 virtual desktops has, I say, resulted in at least a 50% slowdown in my productivity because it's really, really bad. I can click a start menu on what was the same virtual machine and almost count a second before the menu pops up to give you the start menu. Now, that's not really good enough. I mean, that's not the thrust of this article. I think the wheels started to come off for Microsoft when all the ads started to go into the installation screen and all the ads started to go into the start menu. That they weren't real apps you would see when you click start. It was an advert for WhatsApp or an advert for Xbox Live or an advert for whatever it might be. And then the commitment to jam Copilot everywhere, including Notepad. I mean, what are you thinking, Microsoft? Copilot doesn't need to go in Notepad. And then the things like recall and all the bits and the statement that 30% or 40% of the code, I forget exactly, I might be making it up now, slightly, was going to be written by AI for the kernel of Windows going forward. I mean, that is just a sequence of bad, worse, wrong.
Wow.
I have thoughts about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you to a point. I think I hate the installation screens; they're awful. A lot of Windows I do think it's okay, and it's got its character. And I think they've done a good job with their design language. To be fair, I can't find anything in settings though. Settings is not it's as bad as Apple. It's on a par. I think they're both equally awful. But now I was just surprised to see this article in there. But actually, like I say, the taskbar piece, I was like, oh yeah, I was thinking exactly the same just this week.
I mean, I do like this quote at the start. If you were eating in a restaurant and the head chef came out from the back multiple times to loudly proclaim that the kitchen was deeply committed to the quality of the food, would you find that reassuring? Well, no, you'd think they'd been kicking it around the restaurant floor.
You would, because you'd assume that they're doing a good job by default and they shouldn't have to. Yeah, agreed.
So I got issues with this, and I don't get me wrong, I think Apple could be a lot more vocal about what they do in the background for recording your interactions with the desktop. What analytics are you actually taking? And that's something I chin Microsoft about all the time, is that no matter how you opt out to analytics, unless you have an enterprise account, they're doing it anyway, and they switch it back on through updates and all the rest of it. And Apple are very quiet about that, and I would like them to say, no, we don't record more detailed interactions. Frown, but it's true. They're not as upfront as they could be.
No, I'm frowning because 100% that they're recording stuff. Like, I think it came out once of like how much they recorded about App Store usage, and it was insane. Like the amount that they were tracking. It was like, really? Like, do you need to do that for every app? Like, can we turn that craft off, please, and have fast apps again?
Yeah, I think it's a problem. I really do. For both major operating systems. And at some point in the future, we're going to have to start talking about the age verification thing that seems to be coming to all operating systems, be it Linux, Mac, Windows, FreeBSD, whatever. The fact that they're going to start putting that in and being able to verify you across things is something we'll talk about probably in a main show for a later podcast. But I mean, this is good. It's Microsoft saying they're going to sort of roll back a little bit of their more egregious in-your-face things. They haven't said anything about how they're going to roll back. You must have a Microsoft account, and all the things you got to do when you sign in, and have you thought about Microsoft Office and yada 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 that they put at the start. So one step forward, 3 steps back. I don't know.
Maybe this is the snow leopard year for everybody.
I think there's only ever been one snow leopard year, and even Apple can't stick to that anymore. They say, no, we're just going to do improvements. Oh, apart from these 15 things that we might actually get around to doing by next September.
Yeah, everybody's got too big now. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's not very good. Moving on, we had the Apple Watch story from a couple of years ago. There was a company called Masimo that was suing Apple in the United States. They managed to get a trade import ban put in place effectively, where Apple were copying the way that they were measuring blood oxygen on the devices. So Apple had to stop allowing that sensor to happen. They put in some sort of workaround, and I forget exactly what that was at this point. Do you remember what the workaround was?
Not in detail, but it basically does it all in software. And it uses the iPhone to compute, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it would take it off board, and maybe even, it displays it on the Apple Watch, but, the calculations happen on the phone or something like that. Anyway, this workaround has been ruled as being legal by the ITC, so Apple can continue to do this workaround in the United States and ignore Masimo's patent.
I'm not surprised that Apple's workaround was all fine, because you've got to imagine that they legaled a lot of this before they did the work. They go, right, this is what we think we're going to do. This is what we think the workaround is. Legal team, give us the thumbs up or the thumbs down. And yeah, so not a big shock at all here.
I don't know. You think they should have done that before they violated the patent, really?
Well, there is that. Or why don't they just buy it? Because they could probably have afforded it, and they've avoided all of this.
Yeah, several times over. And that was the rumour, wasn't it? Is actually they went round the company as a potentially buying them situation to begin with. So not great, Apple.
We've got some more of that coming up, I think.
We do have a bit more of that coming up, and that's a nice segue into what the CMA is doing. So we talked about this in terms of the American situation, that Adobe weren't going to be able to get away with charging their full cancellation fees. And, I think I've certainly been through this when I went with about 6 months left of the contract left to go to try and cancel the Adobe thing, because I bought it for my daughter for a graphics course. She didn't need it anymore. It wasn't very expensive. It was like £12 a month or something like that, because she got it on a student account. And when I went to cancel it, it was like, you now owe us £400. And I was like, wait, what? But apparently this applies in the UK, obviously I live in the UK, but this came into place in as little as 14 days of using your Adobe account. You would still have to pay 50% of it.
Yeah, it's absolutely bonkers, isn't it? So the deal here is you've signed up to a year, and you want to cancel it, say after a month, that you've then got to pay 50% of the annual price, so at least 6 months worth of it. And if you then carry on with the cancellation, you don't get to use it for 6 months, but you basically use it to the end of that month, but you've then paid to use it for 6 months. So either you leave it running and you put a calendar reminder in and get some use out of it, or you cancel it and swallow a massive bill. I mean, this is just horrible. I mean, as much as we have lots of subscriptions on the iPhone, at least you can cancel them all at will the moment after you've subscribed. And I often do that. I often set them to cancel. And that way, if I want to renew it, I'll deal with it when it comes up. But I don't usually leave them enabled by default. But Adobe here it's horrible, isn't it? What horrible behaviours they're exhibiting.
It is. It's really dark patterns, isn't it, that they do. So this is the Competition Markets Authority in the UK is going to look into this in the same way that they are in the United States. Hopefully they'll rule on the side of the consumer, because this is just, as you say, it's fairly scummy behaviour. If you need the tools, fine. If you're a content creator or you live all day in Photoshop, then awesome. You know what you pay for Photoshop and you pay it and you're happy to pay the subscription. It's how you make your living. However, a student that just needs it for a couple of months, or somebody who would want to download Premiere to try it out for a little bit, having to be stuck with all these fees, I think it's not great. And I feel it makes me feel a bit odd, because I always used to think of Adobe as the good guy. The PDF became a standard format. I think for the early days of printing and Apple, they had quite a good reputation. Photoshop has an amazing reputation of being the rock solid way that you manipulate photos. But if they're going to behave like this, why wouldn't you, relearn your workflow in Canva or Affinity Photo or the GIMP or one of these other alternatives to this? I get you're embedded in a workflow and you're much faster doing it in the thing that you're used to, but if you're going to charge you this amount of money, it might be worth spending a little bit of time relearning.
And there are so many other competitors out there now that are a lot more modern in their approach of you can just sign up and cancel at will. It's crazy talk. But this really puts me off doing anything with Adobe, to be honest with you.
But this is the pattern, isn't it? I mean, you could apply the same sort of thing to Microsoft Office, really. They get you sucked into a particular workflow, and then there's the monthly ongoing payment. And we see Apple doing it now with their Creative Suite thing. So this all bothers me, which is why I think you should always, and won't surprise anybody who listens to this podcast for more than 5 minutes, you should go and investigate the alternatives. You should try and embrace LibreOffice for a little bit and see if it does 90% of your workflow, and can you just live with the 10% that it doesn't. You should try out the GIMP or Affinity Photo or one of these other competitors to these things, just so you don't end up on a hiding to nothing by paying a continual thing. And then you see things like Adobe did, which we talked about last year, where they briefly switched off content, or they asked for rights to content creators' vaults. So all the cloud stuff that was being stored, including Duncan Jones, who was making the new Rogue Trooper film, losing access to all of his material because he hadn't done that. If you're in the middle of making a multi-million-dollar Hollywood film, you shouldn't be hold over the coals for this kind of stuff. So I just think it's fairly nasty behaviour.
Yep, they're a pretty egregious company, I think.
Okay, we can both agree that Adobe are up there with Facebook.
Yeah, they come a close second at this point.
They come a close second. And who knows what they're doing with all this content that's being created. Presumably they're applying their own LLMs to that.
It's put me right off wanting to do anything with Adobe, I'll be honest with you.
Fair enough. How about Google? You happy with them?
I'm not sure I've got anything to do with Google. I occasionally watch YouTube, and that's probably about as much Googling as I do.
I have a complicated relationship with Google. This is, however, is the news that we reported on a couple of weeks ago that Google were going to take sideloading out of Android. This was going to be a big deal. Lots of people depend on this to install APKs. It was a major point of differentiation between them and iOS, that the fact that you could just download a package off the internet, install it on your phone, after taking a couple of boxes saying, yeah, I'm a developer, yeah, I know what I'm doing, and they'd let you do it. They're still going to let you do it. It's called an advanced flow, according to this article from Ars Technica last week. And the settings go like this. Enable developer options by tapping the software build about 7 times. In setting systems, open developer options and scroll down to allow unverified packages. Flip the toggle and tap confirm you're not being coerced. Enter the device PIN or unlock password. Restart your device. Wait 24 hours.
What?
Return to the unverified packages menu at the end of the security delay. Scroll past additional warnings and select either allow temporarily, 7 days, or allow indefinitely. Check the box confirming you understand the risks. You can now install unverified packages on the device by tapping install anyway option in the package manager. Wow.
Do I have to do like a dance at the same time, or stand on one leg, or pat my tummy? This is insane.
I mean, I agree it's insane. However, do you remember you and I saying that Apple should allow this and there should be a checkbox that says, yes, I know the world is going to end if I allow this to happen. Just give it to us, Apple. I mean, it's an awful, stupid rigmarole to go through, particularly the 24-hour wait, but at least they let you do it.
Yeah, true. At least they let you do it, but this is just idiotic, in my opinion.
It is over the top. I mean... 24 hours? Oh, I get the argument Google will make from this is if you're being scammed or pushed by somebody to do this very, very quickly, if there's a device limitation to stop you doing it, you can see why they've made that choice, but it does feel over the top.
It does. Yeah, the whole thing just seems dumb. I don't know what to say about it. It's just stupid. That world has gone slightly mad, I think, at this point.
The world has gone very mad at this point. In one way that it's better, though, or no, maybe this just does verify the madness. Do you want to tell us about what you can do with an iPhone 16e's back panel?
So is this one where you can put the 17e's back panel on the 16e and get MagSafe in your year-old phone, which it didn't ship with last year? I'm assuming it didn't ship with this last year for cost saving, but it just seemed a stupid thing for them to have left out in that it already did Qi charge in the 16e, but just didn't do MagSafe, which is Apple's one where you can have a MagSafe charger and it magnetically snaps in. I'm glad they've added it this year because I think you kind of want all Apple's phones to have a certain minimum sort of benchmark. And for me, MagSafe was one of those things. It's been in the iPhone since the iPhone 12. I love it. I use it all the time. And I was surprised I didn't have it in last year's phone. I thought that would be a non-negotiable, but whatever, they didn't. And they put it now. But it's interesting, it literally uses the same part. So there you go.
Yeah, you can literally swap the back off. It will do everything. It will charge at full speed. It will work with the magnets. What it won't do is give you the nice little animation to say that a MagSafe device has been connected to it, which, let's face it, that's a nice, it's not a must-have.
Yeah, no, true. It is a nice, not a must-have. And you're retrofitting it apart, right?
How much is an iPhone 17e back, I wonder?
Oh, I have no idea.
They're glass, right?
It's probably not worth doing it.
It's probably just cheaper to buy the new phone. Trade in your 16e, you can get a 17e.
You're probably right at that point. And then you know it's going to work and not get bricked in the near future.
It's been interesting watching a lot of this stuff that the MacBook Neo has brought about. Apple having more replaceable stuff. iFixit even gave the MacBook Neo a 6 out of 10 for repairability, which I think is the highest thing they've given an Apple product in a very long time.
Oh, yeah,
so
I would agree.
Something is going on. This still, it's funny, it's worth having a look at the 95 Mac article and watching the YouTube video for how small iPhone is if you are trying to change things. And they say here that changing the USB-C port is still much more complicated than it should be. I'm feeling the USB-C pain at the moment because my iPhone 15 Pro Max does not like having cables plugged into it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Can you MagSafe it?
Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah, but, I'd still...
I know what you mean, because you worry then, is there something else that's going to happen? And so I kind of get it, but part of me will also be right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to baby it on. I'm not changing it just yet, but that's the first time I've had an iPhone for more than a couple of years, and something has gone wrong to this extent.
Yeah. I don't think I've had anything for a while. I know of it's not just because I haven't got my phone very long, but I've passed them on to the family. And yeah, we're probably in a similar place to you. We've had the hardware reliability has been exceptionally good.
Yeah, so there you go. News?
Let's do the news.
First up, obviously the MacBook Neo is doing extremely well. Tim Cook has come out and said that it's just set a new launch record for Apple. First-time buyers almost certainly thanks to the MacBook Neo. I've heard nothing but good things about this. So this was Tim Cook tweeted. He said the Mac just had its best launch week ever for first-time Mac customers. We love seeing the enthusiasm. I mean, it's a very nothing quote, but obviously it's going great numbers for them.
Yeah, I kind of read the quote and I was like, and what? Is it numbers in quantity? It can't be numbers in value, surely, because obviously the Neo is super cheap, and I get the impression people are picking them up because they want to try it out, and it's 600 quid. If you run a business, you can easily obviously write that off as an expense. You've got children interested. Both my children picked one up and had a look, and they're not Mac people at all, and they're both gone, that's pretty cool, actually. I really like the look of that. So it's quite interesting. I think they're tapping into that. And actually, for a child to save up for one is probably more feasible than any other Mac they've ever launched. So it's quite interesting.
I mean, that is true in the sense that it is the cheapest laptop they've ever done. Obviously, the Mac Mini is cheaper as a
no
desktop.
screen, no keyboard. This, you just buy this. You don't need anything else.
Yeah, I agree. And like I say,
hang on, unless you're in the UK, in which you do need a plug.
Yeah, it doesn't come with a plug in the UK, does it? I mean, it's been interesting listening to some of the American podcasters going, I'm going to buy it to have a downstairs computer. And I'm thinking, hang on, have you not already got a laptop or an iPad or a phone? Do you need a downstairs computer as well?
As much as I love devices, the more devices you have, it's just a pain to keep them up to date, have everything installed. And I know lots of things are in the cloud, but you got the app updates. So I can't. That's not for me. I am tempted to buy one just because I think they look cool, but I don't know what I'd do with it.
So we did talk this week. I sent you a screenshot of my daughter's computer, which had an uptime of 3 years effectively.
It was over 1,000 days.
Yeah, she did uptime on her MacBook Air 8 gig M1 of something like 1,300 or 1,185 days, I think it was. So that 8 gigs of RAM has done pretty well for her over the last, and it's used intensively. She writes her university stuff on there, assessments, does PowerPoints, watches YouTube, watches things in Plex and Jellyfin. So the laptop is not used, and I looked at her Chrome tab situation, and she must have had a good 50 open.
Wow, okay. I am disappointed though in you, Rod, in that you've not instilled in your daughters that they must install security updates and but she's obviously very happy with the things. So,
do your kids always listen to everything you say?
I don't really listen to anything I say.
I rest my case, I think.
Yeah, fair enough. Like, you got to pick your battles, right?
You got to pick your battles. So there we go. MacBook Neo doing gangbusters. I've not seen a negative thing about it at all anywhere on the internet so far, I don't think.
I think the general consensus is fair play, Apple. You made the right level of compromise between cost and functionality, and they've absolutely smashed it, which is rare because often they get slated for being too expensive or they've compromised a step too far. So fair play.
If they can drop the MacBook next year, Neo, with the better phone chip and 2 faster USB-C ports and 16 gigs of RAM, or at least 12 gigs of RAM,
12.
I'll take it.
Yeah, that would be an amazing upgrade. I worry that the problem they've got now is a lot of people are going to go, I'm just going to spend 600 quid every couple of years and not bother buying a £1,000 one.
But they're still walking into an Apple store to do it. You know, they're not going to Walmart or they're not going to Tesco in the UK or Costco or somewhere like that. They're walking to Apple and they're doing it. And let's face it, I think there's a phenomena in pundits like us who must have a MacBook Pro, even though they don't need a MacBook Pro. You can write your script and you can do your YouTube video and you can, run Final Cut Pro quite well on one of these more limited devices. So I think Apple will be okay. And if what they manage to do is get one of your 2 kids to buy a MacBook Neo, who wouldn't have thought about it in a couple of years' time, they've got a customer probably for life.
Yeah, that's fair. And you and I have said it for a long time, haven't we? Like the Air is more than most people need kind of thing. So, and Apple have also obviously agreeing with that.
Yep. Somebody else that might be agreeing with us is the UK government over their position on Palantir. I don't think this will actually change anything, but obviously Palantir, big American company run by Peter Thiel, has lots of contracts with the US military, Department of Homeland Security, the NHS here in the UK, and the Ministry of Defence. However, this is the government promising to take a bit more of a look at how those purchases were made and what ongoing contracts are. So I think this is a good thing. I doubt it will make much difference because they're the big dog in the room when it comes to it.
Basically, it feels like paying lip service. Yep, we keep paying Palantir, but now we're going to think about it before we pay Palantir. That feels how that's going to go.
I mean, we've seen their commitment to this kind of thing with the Fujitsu thing. We're not going to pay Fujitsu anymore. Oh, we'll award them another contract and another contract and another contract. And for all the talk about distancing ourselves from the United States slightly where possible, it's absolutely just lip service.
Yep, what a load of horse manure.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? To go out for amounts of money like the 330 million NHS federated data platform thing without looking at alternatives, doing the bidding process fairly, is just nonsense.
Yep, you and I are agreed on this one. It does feel like nonsense, and this definitely feels like lip service nonsense.
Yeah, and we'd be hauled over the coals for doing it in our companies for not having a fair and open, competition process where you approve for the correct bidder.
100%.
Pants. Something else that might not be pants, but probably is everything apps. So we've talked about them before in terms of WeChat, and obviously Elon Musk wanted to do one with his Grok and /X app, whatever that's called. But what we're seeing are both OpenAI, and if I can open up the other link as well, Google trying to do everything apps for their Gemini and ChatGPT products. So we see from Gemini it beginning to test a dedicated Gemini app for the Mac, and we see from ChatGPT it trying to put its various bits of the code app, the browser app, and the other bits and pieces all into one thing. And I can kind of get this. Why develop 2 or 3 apps when you can just develop one? But it just feels like we're getting to that point where it's just a thing that lives on your computer all the time.
Yeah. Is this the future of Mac apps? Is AI apps? That's what this smells like. You can kind of see it a little bit with ChatGPT. Yeah, we've launched the browser. We've got the codecs. We've got ChatGPT. You could kind of see them working together. I'm sure it's going to be a horrible piece of bloatware, but you can see the logic in what they're doing here. They got one app to maintain, to push out to people. I don't know if I want these as apps. I'm quite happy just to consume them as a website. I've gone back a lot to websites, I think, more recently.
Yeah, my interaction with the LLMs is via a web page. I don't want them to install it. It makes me paranoid. I think it would be a double standard of me to go, Microsoft recall's a terrible thing, and then allow Gemini in to look at every single thing that I do on my computer.
Yeah, I would concur with that statement. So, I think we need to build up some trust first and some quality apps, and I'm not sure they're going to do either of those two things.
The thing is, they don't need to be. If you watch the way, and let's face it, there's more and more LLM use, and you hear it more and more when you're out and about in the world, of people talking about their interaction with ChatGPT, helping it make their decisions, putting in their job adverts and their CVs and all the rest of it. It's just part of the world at this point. If and when it bursts, though, I wonder who'll be left standing.
Yeah. I don't know what I think. Yeah, I don't know. It certainly feels, sadly, ChatGPT are, from a branding perspective, are the forerunners in all of this. I
think they're going to end up being the Xerox, though. I think they'll be the... Yeah, I do. I think Google, if you look at the deals they're making behind the scenes, they've got an ongoing deal with Samsung. They're going to run Apple Intelligence. They've got their own Gemini thing. They've got all that stuff in Android phones. I think there's quite a lot of the background of Perplexity, and a couple of the other companies make use of Gemini. They're still in a march on a lot of the competitors, and who would bet against Google?
True, and to be fair to Google, they were a bit slow getting out the gates, but they've really caught up. You can't, Gemini's become more and more of a thing as every day's gone past. I don't disagree with you. I think you've got a good view, but I'm curious to see how it's going to play out. I don't hear a lot of people talking about Google, but you're right, maybe they are the ones that will pick up the crumbs. Yeah,
I mean, the ones I use, I think the top ones are Claude, because I use that a fair bit, and Gemini from time to time as well. They've got a clear lead as far as I'm concerned over Copilot.
Yep, fair enough.
Anyway, that's enough about LLMs. Instead, let's talk about something else that's driven me completely batty over the last few years, and that is the iPhone keyboard. We showed a video on YouTube from a British guy who did this a couple of years back, just filming himself typing and how inaccurate the iPhone keyboard was. I think just anecdotally, everybody I speak to thinks it's worse than it ever was. Certainly I do. Do you agree?
Yeah, it's been driving me crazy more recently.
Yeah, it's rubbish. Anyway, apparently they're going to fix it in 26.4. The release candidate for that came out last Tuesday, I want to say, and people are saying it's better. Are you running this release candidate? I know you like a release candidate.
Maybe. I can't really comment whether I think it's better. I think I need to use it a little bit longer. Maybe I'm saying that, though, because I haven't really thought about it. I didn't even know this fix was in there until you put this in the show notes. So maybe it is better, but I've not really thought about it. So give me another week and I'll report back. But I think maybe there is something in here. I mean, it's frustrating because this was one of the killer features when the first iPhone shipped of how good the keyboard was. Obviously got slated for not having a physical keyboard. And Apple were like, no, this is good, trust us. And they were right, and we all got used to it, and all the phones went that way. And then I don't know what they've done in the last couple of years, as you've said. So maybe it is better, and it hasn't annoyed me as much, but I've just not really thought about it.
Fair enough. Something else that you might not have thought about or were expecting was an AirPods Max release in the last week. This must have made you very happy. You love an AirPods Max.
I do like the AirPods Max. I did own a pair of the original ones, and It felt a very frivolous thing for me to go and purchase, but I actually quite enjoyed them. I have since sold them because I'm going USB-C everything, and that was before they brought out what I thought was the AirPods 2, because they released the AirPods 1 with just USB-C in it after about 2 or 3 years of the original AirPods Max being out. But this week, they've announced there's proper AirPods 2 coming, and they've not only got USB-C, and they're in the same colours, but it's actually got the H2 chip, and basically does pretty much, if not everything, that my AirPods Pro 3 do. You can now do it with the big cans that cost £500, which is a lot of money. Or you could buy a MacBook Neo.
You could have a whole laptop or a second-hand iPhone 15 probably.
It's mad, isn't it? That Neo, just everywhere you look at the Neo, it just seems like an absolute steal compared to some of the accessories they sell. But look, I do like the AirPods Pro Max. I think they sound amazing. Are they heavy? Yes. Do they have a stupid bra case? Yes. Have they changed any of these things? No. Can you collapse them? No. But they are good headphones, in my opinion.
So I've never even put a pair on. I see people wearing them. Quite a lot of our students wear them. It's crazy to me that presumably parents are dropping 500 quid on their kids' Apple headphones. And they are just the AirPods Max, not the AirPods Pro Max. I think that's what you said. You confused me there. Are they Pro Max or just Max?
No, they're just Max. I apologise. I sometimes get their name wrong, and I apologise for that.
I think Apple's naming convention is mental anyway at the moment. But anyways, they've put an H2 chip in it. It has better adaptive transparency. It has better noise cancellation. It was pretty good anyway from what I understand. The battery life hasn't got any better. It's got USB-C, the same as the AirPods Max 1.5, I guess we'll call them at this point. I mean, it's the same they did then with the AirPods Max that they did with the trackpad and the keyboard, isn't it? They went from Lightning to USB-C they had USB-C across the range. They didn't actually change it. I don't think, even with these changes, these are headphones I'd look at. I like my over-the-head headphones. I'm wearing a pair now, and they've been fantastic, and they've got good ANC noise cancellation, and they've only got better with these are the first generation XM ones. I think you've got XM4s, 3s.
I'm modelling the 4s. I think these were the ones. These are the latest ones when I bought them. I think the 5s came out last year sometime.
Yeah, and this stuff only gets better. And to be fair to Sony, they had completely collapsible ones. They went away from it about the time the AirPods came out, and then they've gone back to it again. You know, they actually collapse down again. My daughter has a set of Bauer & Wilkins P2s, I think it is, and the noise cancellation on them is better than anything I've ever heard from Apple. So this feels like a lot of money for it's like the studio displays. They've done the bare minimum to keep them up to date.
Yeah, they have. They've done it. They've taken too long. They've done the bare minimum when they've got there, and they are charging a lot more than the competition, I think. I mean, I'm not going to buy a pair of these. I'm very happy with these cans I've got. I think the Sony's actually really nicely made. I don't take them everywhere with me, but I do use them a lot.
But this is what AirPods Pro are for, though. They're the headphones you take everywhere with you. I will only take out my big noise cancelling ones if I'm going on a long trip on an airplane, if I'm going to go more than 5 hours or something like that, or you've got bone conduction ones when you're running.
Or walking with the dog.
Well, whatever. I mean, but I agree with you. I see people walking around in the street wearing these, and I just think, why?
Yeah, the AirPods Max are super popular. I'm not surprised they've done this.
Yeah. And I've told you my story of going to the Apple store in Cupertino, the one actually outside of Apple Park, and I watched a family buy 4. You know, they dropped $2,000 on headphones in one visit.
Is that so they can all wear them at the same time and not talk to each other?
Oh, as I was sat in Cafe Mac watching people buy things, I wonder if lots of people, Apple employees were coming out of Apple Park to see friends and family, and maybe they were implying their amazing employee discounts for them.
Yeah, okay. That is a good point, actually. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
Still, lots of money. Media?
Let's do some media.
So first up, were you a Firefly watcher, Chris? And I don't know why I'm even asking that with a question, because the answer will be... No. So Firefly was created by Joss Whedon, him of Buffy the Vampire Slayer fame, and went on to do the first Avengers movies, I think. Has something of a fall from grace due to not quite Epstein-related, let's call it Me Too-related things.
Behaviour issues.
Behaviour issues, particularly the way he treated some of the co-stars. Firefly, however, was a very well-regarded TV show that got 13 episodes, was aired out of order, so it didn't make a lot of sense, but has developed the most amazing cult following, and as a consequence, actually had a fantastic film called Serenity, which even if you haven't watched the TV show, check out Serenity. It's a properly good film.
Chris shakes his head to denote he has not seen this film.
This is just my expectation now when I'm speaking to Chris about films and media. It's a good film. It's got some great actors in it, and Nathan Fillion has gone on to many other things, as has Marina Baccarin, who also co-starred in Firefly. She's obviously been in Marvel stuff. She's done all sorts of things too. So good cast. 13 episodes, and it's many, many years, 24 years ago since this. However, just in the last week, Nathan Fillion and the remaining live cast have come together to say they're going to do an animated reboot. So this is good news. I always want to see these things continue. It's great.
Do you think it's going to hit the mark? Animated reboot.
I think there's enough fans out there that mourn its passing that it'll do all right.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So that's just a PSA if you didn't know. Next up, I have continued my Bond watch, and I'm doing quite well. I've only got 2 left now.
Yeah, I must confess, the Daniel Craig era, I get confused which one's which.
So this is probably the one that was best regarded. It had the Adele song at the start. This is Skyfall.
Yeah, okay. So Skyfall, I did like this one, if I remember correctly. I think Quantum of Solace was disappointing at best. But Skyfall did feel like they got the good elements of Casino Royale, a bit of some good action, and then they actually made a good film out of it. Yeah,
I think it's fair to say it was a good film. Some interesting choices. It does turn into Home Alone towards the end of the film, which was a bit ridiculous. You've got all the resources of MI6 and you go and hide in a Scottish castle with no guns. What's going on with that?
Yeah, agreed. It was a bit Home Alone-esque.
Javier Bardem is very good in it. I think that's quite an interesting. They could have done a lot more with that. It's a decent film. It's a 6.5, 7 out of 10 film for me. Daniel Craig's very watchable. The set pieces are very well done. Spoilers, they kill off Judi Dench towards the end, so you end up with a new M. It's a very solid film. And the next one, Spectre, I seem to remember wasn't great. It had some more questionable stuff in it. I did see a review of Bond as a series that apparently Roger Moore had said, you can see it happening. They'll make a film and it's too serious, so they'll make the next one a bit campy and full of gadgets, and then everybody will react badly, so the next one will be serious again, and you can sort of see that heartbeat of the movies as you go through them.
Okay, that kind of makes sense. I think Skyfall was good though, because it showed some great scenes in London, if I remember correctly. Like, it was really enjoyable, I think, how they portrayed London.
Yeah, the Skyfall London scenes compared to the the Pierce Brosnan one in the boat, was it Die Another Day?
It's down to the Millennium Dome.
Yeah, it's a better film than that. And again,
100%.
My conclusion from watching them all is I like all the Bonds. I used to be a bit down on Roger Moore. I used to be a bit down on Pierce Brosnan. But it's the scripts, man. It's not the actors.
Yeah, I'm with you. I generally like, if a Bond film is on, if I were browsing TV channels, I would probably watch it and be quite content.
And I've moved to Metacritic away from Rotten Tomatoes because I was getting advertising warnings from Rotten Tomatoes. But our score from other critics is it's an 81, and the score from users is 7.6 out of 10. So this seems to have been well received both by critics and by people who enjoy Bond films.
Why critics out of 100 and users, I'm guessing, out of 10? Like, why aren't they on the same scale?
I have no idea.
Okay, understood.
I mean, let's face it, it's more or less the same thing anyway. They scored a 76, didn't they? We can do that conversion.
Yeah, no, I'm cool with it.
I also managed to watch another film last night, one I missed the first time around. Have you seen the film Hackers, Chris?
No, I don't think I have.
Do you watch films at all, Chris?
I usually quite like a film.
Right, well, don't watch this one.
Wow. So are you aligning yourself with the critics' review?
Very much aligning myself with the critics' review. The most generous I can be to it is it's of its time. This was Angelina Jolie's first movie. It has oh gosh, his name, I've just completely blanked on his name. Sick Boy from Trainspotting.
I know, I saw him pop up and I can't think of his name.
The British
Johnny
actor.
Lee Miller.
Johnny Lee Miller, who plays Dade. And a couple of other actors who are like Matthew McLillard, who was in the Scooby-Doo films and stuff like that as well. And it's got Bunk from The Wire in there as well. So there's some decent actors in there.
Interesting. It's got Fisher Stevens, who plays the Plague. I assume that's a hacker, but he's in Succession as one of the Weasley PR men. So that was interesting.
He was in Short Circuit, if you've seen that film as well.
I have seen Short Circuit. Love Short Circuit 2 as a kid. What a film.
So Short Circuit, he plays it's very inappropriate and wouldn't be allowed these days, but he's an American actor and he plays an Indian actor with an accent.
Yeah, is that him?
That's him.
Wow. Okay.
I've just blown your mind, haven't I?
Yeah, because I can place that character even now.
Anyway, hackers. Very, very of its time. Everybody is rocking around on a PowerBook, an original generation color PowerBook, the black one. Their hacking involves them sitting typing their keyboards while various animated globes and electrons grow across the screen and skulls go and laugh, and it's problematic if you know anything about computers at all to sit there and watch it. So this was 1995 is when this came out, and they've all got names like Cool Zero and the Plague and stuff like that are their elite hacker names. And meanwhile, the FBI sort of rush around in the background trying to catch them. Yeah, it's not a good film. It's not a good film. The fashion is questionable. They go around everywhere on rollerblades because that's how we're all going to move around in the future, isn't it? And just the hacking is so deeply, deeply unrealistic. A challenging film, but I tell you what was good about it is the music is all early, mid-90s dance, so it's full of The Prodigy and Faithless and things like that. It was the best thing about it. There wasn't a single American song in there, I don't think. It was all British techno.
Oh, okay. All right. Probably not going to rush and watch this one then. No,
don't rush it. I think the critics are definitely right on this. It's a less than 50% movie.
Understood.
This is almost all me this week, isn't it?
I've not watched any TV this week.
You need to sort it out, man. There's an interesting visualization from Information is Beautiful, who are always worth looking at things with the way they portray things. And they've ranked the top 50 TV shows of all times, not just by taking from one list, as we have just done with Metacritic. They've gone through all of the major sort of watching sites and taken their ratings and collated them together to give you a sort of fairly definitive list. So if you look here, this is the critics column from Metacritic, and this is the users column from Metacritic. But also in there, we've got IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, Flickster, Just Watch, all these kinds of things. And I won't go through all of these, but I almost can't disagree with their list. I might put Game of Thrones above Breaking Bad, but Breaking Bad, the greatest TV show of all time, then Game of Thrones, then Chernobyl, which is phenomenal. I haven't seen The Sopranos. I have seen Band of Brothers, and it's very good. And I have seen The Wire, and it's excellent.
Whoa. You've not seen The Sopranos. I've not seen The Sopranos.
No. You don't get to do this to me. With all the stuff you haven't got to watch, there's no whoas here, okay?
Yeah, okay. This is quite cool. It's quite interesting, though, because something like Breaking Bad and The Sopranos, for example, have got many seasons, right? And so it's hard, I think, the more seasons you have to crank out something that's so highly respected and keeps that level up, because it's hard, right? So this is interesting because Chernobyl has got one series. It was quite a short series. I'm going to say like 6 episodes, I think, if I remember correctly, because I have seen it. So it's interesting how something so short as a one-off can compete with something that went on for 10 years or so. I think it looks quite good. I'm surprised Sherlock's up there so high in number 9. That one stood out to me. I liked it, but I don't know. I wouldn't have put it there. I'm assuming The Office that's in number 17 is the American Office.
Almost certainly.
Succession, for me, is definitely up there. I thought it was fantastic. And also, I was just trying to look for Mad Men, and that's in at 21. And then Mr. Robot's in at 24. I did quite like Mr. Robot when it came out, I must confess. Severance, 27. I don't disagree with this, to be fair. I think they've done a good job.
I don't know what this one is here on the right, but they don't like anything. All their reviews are negative.
Well, then I'd have just deleted them. They'd lose. Yeah, well, they like Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones, and then nothing.
Yeah, they're skewing the rest of the list, aren't they? Is what they're doing.
Yeah, they should be allowed to vote.
Yeah, there's some interesting ones on here. I mean, it's nice to see British shows in here, like Line of Duty sneaks in at 36. I'm quite pleased about that. Fleabag has done incredibly well. There it is at 12. So, and Peaky Blinders, obviously. So you called out Sherlock, and technically Chernobyl's a British production because it was Sky, right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
So, I mean, this is good. I think this shows Britain punching above its weight, really, considering the volume of money that's spent on American TV shows. Yeah,
that's fair. I think it's a good list. You're right. It is good, and I feel bad I've not watched enough of them.
And of course, Game of Thrones is filmed in Northern Ireland largely, so that's true too.
Never seen it.
You've got to get with the program, man. You're not allowed to shake your head at me and that again until you've watched some of these.
I don't even know when I could even do it though, because committing to a TV show is quite a thing, and for me, I'd have to watch all of it all the way through, start to finish.
All right, so let's just look down here a little minute. Many of these are only 2 seasons, for example. Mindhunter is a 2-season show.
Yeah, so that's probably a little more doable for me, things like that. Whereas committing to Breaking Bad would be challenging.
That's fair. And It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is ongoing.
Yeah, I'm aware of it because obviously I've seen it. The guy, because he bought the Wrexham
team. Yeah, it's a hard watch, but occasionally worth it.
Okay.
And you have news about Race Across the World.
It's a very small PSA because I literally haven't watched any TV, but I'm excited because Race Across the World is back and they're going to go from Europe to Mongolia, which is cool. And I'm excited because I like watching this with my son. So, and I text you and go, "Oh, Race Across the World is back," but you already knew because you're plumbed into the Race Across the World matrix. But no, I can't wait. I love this show, so I'm looking forward to it.
I applied to go on it. I didn't get on.
I'd have loved to have seen you on it. That would have been awesome. You and your daughter.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. It's a great show. It's always rewatchable. It's the perfect mix of a TV show. There's drama in there. There's a bit of reality stuff in there. There's a competitive element to it. It's just a really good show.
Amazing locations as well.
I agree. I would talk about games, but I've only played Slay the Spire 2.
I don't think I've actually played anything this week. I've been a bad person. Work is taking over and I apologise.
We've all got work, mate. We've all got work.
I know, but I'm not getting any games or TV in it, and I haven't read very much, so I feel it's not been a good week for fun stuff for me.
Although I have got news and books later, which I haven't read yet.
Ooh.
Should we do a main show?
Let's do it.
Okay, so we just thought to do something different that we haven't done in a while, that we would talk about the first apps we install on a brand new Mac. Now, it's interesting looking at our lists here. They're very different, Chris.
They are very different because I don't install that many apps.
How do you want to do this? Do you want to do 1-1 or should we go through one entire list each?
I don't know. One might work. That'd be interesting to see what our first apps are.
Okay, let's start with you then. What's the first? You've got a brand new, shiny Macintosh in front of you. What are you installing on it?
You're going to hate this, but it is Microsoft Office because I use Office a lot. So for me, everything Microsoft is work. So generally when I've got a Mac, I'm setting up for work. And for me, it's Office, which is Outlook, Teams, Excel, Word, PowerPoint. They're those sort of 4 or 5 apps. Oh, and obviously a bit of OneDrive. And I must confess, I think Microsoft do an all right job of being a relatively good citizen on the Mac. They've got nice icons up in the menu bar. The apps look pretty good. They've just done a massive OneDrive update that makes it feel more Mac-esque. I think on the whole, yeah, they're doing all right. But for me, it's Office. I do, like I say, use Office a lot. And for me, everything in Microsoft is Office, and everything over here in Apple land is personal stuff. So that's how I delineate when I'm using my own device.
So I stopped you from putting iWork in here because I said it comes with the device. You don't need to install it.
Which I had kind of forgotten, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be a thing you had to pay like a nominal fee for iWork, but for a very long time, you just needed to claim it on the App Store.
Yep, which I do have. So I do use iWork as, like I say, for my personal documents. But like I said, Office is a pretty good app. If you got to use it, you are supporting the big behemoth, though. Yeah,
which obviously on my work Mac, of course I install I have it installed. I don't use it at the moment. I do have the OneDrive client because that's how we synchronize a lot of our things. I do use the Outlook web app rather than the Outlook desktop app because that's how I get my work email. But I'm trying not to use Word, Excel, PowerPoint. I'm trying to use the LibreOffice alternatives. Yeah, on a work Mac, absolutely get it. I understand it. It's just you're going to be compatible. You're going to get on. You're going to take the corporate coin and you're going to get on there and you're going to have it because you don't have to pay for it. It's interesting you make that distinction about for your personal stuff. No, you don't do it. You use pages and numbers and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's what I use for my personal stuff is pages and numbers because I've always used it. But I'm probably different to a lot of people in that I have one computer that I use for both work and personal.
Yeah, so I mean, this podcast Mac is not a work Mac. I have no Microsoft stuff on this at all.
If I didn't do work on my Mac, I would have no Microsoft stuff installed.
That's interesting. Okay, so I mean, maybe I should have been more specific about this. But I said the first 5 apps you install on a Mac, so Microsoft Office is yours. Mine is Alfred. So Alfred is a sort of Spotlight replacement, you could think of it, but far more powerful. You can install the free version. If you pay for the Power Pack, you get more features. You can have workflows and all sorts of things like that. But what Alfred gives me is all the bits that are missing, i.e. it does actually find the things I search for on my Mac, unlike Spotlight. It does do text replacement that works. So if I'm trying to leave an email signature, I can do $sig, and it will overwrite in any text field the text that I'd rather have instead. I can search for files, folders. If I wanted to use it as my clipboard manager, I could do that too. But it's solid, stable, and has been with me for many, many years. And it's my automatic default of what I install on a new Mac.
Yeah, I used to use Alfred a lot, but I must confess I just use Spotlight, whether it's good or bad.
Even modern Spotlight, I see the improvements, but I just find it so slow. Command space to bring up Spotlight. Oh no, I want to copy from the clipboard, and that's Command 3 or something like that. I want to search files, that's Command 2. It's rubbish. Why isn't it just one search?
I haven't got into all those new commands. I just use Spotlight like I always used to. I'm not a power user.
Are you just using Spotlight as an application launcher, or do you search for stuff with it?
Pretty much an application launcher, because usually when I want a document, I know what I'm looking for and I go and find it.
Okay, I won't judge. I have judged, but that's fine. Second act for Chris is iStat menus.
Yep. So I like my iStat menus. I have it up in the top right. I just like to see the numbers, so I can see I'm using 70% of my memory, 21% of CPU. CPU's at 48 degrees. My SSD is 62% full.
Why?
I just like it.
Does it change anything you watching it?
Occasionally when I'm like, oh, why is Teams just crashed? And then I look up and go, oh, I've got loads of CPU left. It wasn't that. So it's just the app. No, I don't know. I just like to know it's there. And if my Mac ever goes slow, I can just look at it and go, I'm all right.
See, I think back in the Intel days, I would have installed this because they ran like furnaces, and you'd look up there and you'd see your CPU temperature was 84 degrees, and you'd think, well, that's not good. But genuinely, since we switched to Apple Silicon, I've felt no need to run any of the iStat stuff because it just performs.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I probably don't need it there. I just like it there. I think I like to just be able to glance up and go, okay, it's all right.
Fair enough. I think it's fine if it's what you like and what you install on your Mac. I wouldn't think, for me, it's not an essential. I don't need to know. I can bring up the activity monitor. I can type top in the console. I can get a feeling for what's going on without having it. Which isn't to say I didn't use it back in the day, but I just don't see the point anymore.
You probably introduced me to it, to be fair.
I probably did, because, I like the new shiny.
Agreed.
For me, the second, occasionally first, if I'm not paying enough attention to the thing I install, is Mackie. Mackie is a clipboard manager that the Mac should have come with from the start. I can copy text. I can do Shift Command C when I want to get my pop-up menu, and you can see from the store here, it will show you everything that's in there, including pictures, with quick applications to get to it, and it's free. And I don't understand why anybody would use anything else, frankly.
Yeah, why don't I use it? I don't know.
It does take a slight change in mindset to get used to having a clipboard manager with everything in there, but if you are copying pasting around a bit, it's super helpful to have it. And even Windows can do Windows V these days, or is it Windows C, and bring up the whole clipboard manager that Windows has built in, that's better than what comes as default on the Mac, even with the new Spotlight.
I think the problem I have is because I still use my iPad a lot. I can't do any of this stuff on there, so I try and work one way, and not necessarily the best way, is it?
Yeah, I'm maybe, as with media, I'm going to educate you and try and push you out your comfort zone and try some new things.
Yeah, that's fair.
Third thing Chris installs on every Mac he gets.
This is so I can podcast with you, is Audio Hijack in case I need it. So I've got 2 Macs and this is installed on both. And for some reason my recordings are always really low, but I do install it on all my Macs. So this is by Rogue Amoeba. It's a great little app. It's a bit confusing on your first use and a little daunting, but very clever once you understand how it works. And you can basically go, here's some sources, I want to do something with them and record them. It's a really good app, and I have bought it, and I would recommend it if you need to record any audio because it's super clever.
It's not cheap. It's $69 or equivalent pound value. It is an amazing app, though. I will say that it's audio glue. Again, it feels like a lot of these apps that certainly I install and ones like this for you feel like they should have come with a Mac anyway, that you should be able to manage the audio in this way. You should be able to pipe the audio out of that into the next thing. It's streets above what you can get on Linux. I don't know enough about Windows audio capture to know what you do on Windows, frankly, but for the Mac, I feel like it's almost a default purchase. So I'm not going to argue with this one. I think Audio Hijack's a great choice if you record audio.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And the guys at OpenAI make some really good software.
And out of all of our lists, I think this is the most Mac-like Mac app that either of us are recommending.
Yes, it feels like an old school Mac app, definitely.
It's developers who love the Mac and took pride in it in the same way that the Omni Group used to, and probably still do, but I don't work with a lot of their stuff anymore, to be honest. Rogue Omega do great Mac apps.
Yep, same.
For me, the third thing is Homebrew. So I almost couldn't think about using a Mac without Homebrew. I've become so dependent. I've become a very terminal-based person. I think I blame this on my Linux.
Yeah, I personally don't understand enough about it, and so I just haven't got into it, but I know you are a big Homebrew fan.
I'm a huge Homebrew fan. So once you've installed and you can copy and paste, always understand what a terminal command is doing before you paste it into the terminal. But if you copy and paste the shell script there on their web page, let it do its thing. Import one thing into your path. It gives you the instructions when it's finished installing, and you think, okay, what am I going to install next? Oh, I'll install Mackie on my Mac next. You do brew install Mackie, and it just goes off and gets it. You don't need to fight your way around a web page. You don't need to navigate anything. I want to install Firefox. Brew install Firefox, and it just goes and does it all for you. You don't need to click around the web doing it. Even commercial apps as well. Why would you not want that?
Yeah, I can see it. I just need to build my trust in it, I guess.
You can trust it. It's been around a long time.
Okay, fair enough.
In fact, I think it's probably been around since just after OS 10, I think.
Yeah, I don't know why I never really got into it. I'm an old school. I'll go to a website and I'll download something.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine, but this has just made my life so much easier. And brew update and brew upgrade, and it upgrades all your software as well. Again, it just makes your life so much easier.
Fair enough.
For example, if you decided you want to dabble around in Android software development, brew install Android Studio. It'll go and get all the dependencies. It'll satisfy all that stuff for you, and you're up and running. You don't need to go through 15 pages of Google's website trying to work out which downloader to get.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know.
You still don't sound convinced.
No, I'm not a big terminal person either. I'm a visual learner.
You say so. Chris's fourth app, Nova.
Nova. I always like panic apps. Used to be a web developer, so I installed Nova so I can mess around with code, and I like Sport Panic. So this is an app I use for building websites or editing any form of code or JavaScript. Don't get to use it as much as I'd like, but just enjoy every now and again tinkering with code. So that's what I use, and that's Nova.
I have no comment on Nova. It looks like a code editor to me.
It's called Panic, like Rogue Amoeba and whoever else you just mentioned that I used to use the apps of. Omni Group make Mac apps, and I think it's a cool Mac app, and they put their own little bit of panache into it, and I like it.
So if I want just a bare bones text editor, I bought BB Edit version 12 many, many years ago.
That's the one if you want a bare bones one. This is more of a project-based solution.
And when I want a more project-based solution, I install VS Codium, which is the open source-ified version of Microsoft's Visual Studio Code, and it does all this.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I just like Panic. I always have liked Panic, so that's why I use it.
I'm genuinely not criticising your choice. I get this. I mean, is it not a bit odd that you're not a web developer anymore, but you sort of default to installing a development platform like this?
I'd like to be a web developer, I think.
Rather than a Swift developer, you'd choose this over
I'd like to do a bit of both. I'd just like to do more coding. I just don't get to do it anymore.
Fair enough. The fourth app I always install on every Mac that I have is Tailscale. I am a big fan of Tailscale because I have a split site at the moment as to where all my servers and computers and things are. This has proved to be particularly useful if you have a house and an office or a couple of houses or one by the beach. This effectively lets you join all your infrastructure together into one. It can, in its simplest way, you can use it as a VPN, where if you're out of the country and you wanted to VPN back to your house, so you could, watch iPlayer or something like that when you were there, or you forgot that file because it was on your NAS at home. Tailscale lets you do that. It lets you join computers up. You can publish websites effectively on it with URLs known to you, or you can put them outside without opening up ports on your router as well. It's a phenomenally powerful thing, and they do a great job of making some really complicated tech very straightforward and simple. It's cross-platform. I've got it on my iPhone. I've got it on my Mac. I've got it on my Linux boxes. It's just a phenomenal piece of software.
Yeah, so I've used Tailscale. I like it. I think it's clever, but it feels like I can't remember how they phrased it in the Harry Potter books, but you shouldn't trust something you can't understand how it works or something like that to do with magic. And this is one of those things. I like it. It works really well, but I don't understand how it works. And maybe I'm not clever enough to understand it, but it is very clever. And it does generally just work. It's very neat.
It's basically just WireGuard, which I think is what you use to connect to your Unify switch when you're out of the house.
Yep.
That's what it is. It's WireGuard.
But it just blows my mind. Installing an endpoint and it just works. It just blows my mind. It is very clever.
No, I like it a lot. I'm a big fan of Tailscale. And like I say, it's a default install because once I've got that, the next thing I install are things like sync things so I can synchronize my own cloud stuff across all my computers, and Tailscale just enables that for me.
Yep. Fair enough.
Festivitas, because it's Christmas.
I love this app. I booted up a Mac and I didn't have my Christmas lights on it. And I was like, oh, I need to install this app. So this is an app. It costs like a couple of quid. It's just cool. I love it. I use it on my Macs. I like having the lights across the top. I just think it looks awesome. It gives it a bit of character.
But it's March.
You can have lights on. It's fine. You can do pumpkins for Halloween. I don't know if they've got anything in there for Christmas. I'll have to have a look. But I like it.
They've definitely got Christmas. It's called Festivitas.
Sorry, not Christmas, for Easter. I don't know if they have some eggs or bunnies for Easter. But I just think it's a cool app. I like the developer. And it's something I enjoy using.
I didn't know they did pumpkins. I'm looking. They don't tell you any of this on the website. It's just Christmas. It's got snow and Christmas lights.
Yeah, the website is a bit basic, but it's a good little app, and the guy's done a cool job with it. So I quite enjoy it.
I just don't, of all the world of apps out there, the thing you choose to install fifth is a Christmassy one.
I don't install a lot of stuff generally on my Macs. I just install stuff when I need it. I try not to proliferate my devices with lots of apps I don't need.
But this is one you do.
I could have gone with my sixth one, which is normally ExpressVPN for when I'm on like coffee shop Wi-Fi and stuff. But I just thought it was a bit boring.
You got Tailscale for that, man.
Yeah, I still just have ExpressVPN. I don't know whether I should route my traffic back home.
But again, you could use your Unify stuff. You could have the UI, manager, and then you wouldn't need to pay for a VPN.
And I've bought the ExpressVPN. I did like a 2-year deal a year ago, so I'm partway into it. But I just generally use that when I'm on crap Wi-Fi. Excuse my language. That I just want to just because I'm nervous if somebody's snooping or whatever. Because I don't want to. I don't know. It's just I take a long time to change habits. I think you're learning that.
I think that would have been a better choice than Festivitas. But who am I to judge, mate?
Festivitas goes on first, so you can have the lights on whilst you're installing your VPN.
Last but not least for me, I go back and forth with password managers. I have come back to Proton Pass, which I also bought a year's thing when 1Password were about to jack up the prices and doing some questionable things. So they're a Swiss company. I gave them an amount of money. I forget exactly how much money I gave them. I guess if I click the Get Proton Pass thing, no, it's going to want me to sign in. For individuals, there you go. No, that's not helpful.
They really want you to sign in, Rod.
They really want me to sign up. I'm hoping that for the video, none of my passwords and things come up here as well. Anyway, it's really good. I'm a big fan of it. It works really well. It does the fill-in thing that 1Password does if you've got two-factor authenticator codes and all the rest of it. It works really well. It's cross-platform again, which is really important to me. It works on my phone, my iPad, my Linux boxes, Windows machines, Macs, everything. And I've been quite enjoying using it so far. I do have a backup. I self-host my own password manager as well. So every so often I'm extracting from Proton and I'm putting it in there. Should they do something questionable that I'm not happy with? It's all the things that you'd want about this password has been involved in a leak. It will generate passwords for you. It will hold two-factor authenticators. You can put your passport and driving license in there. It's just a very complete app that's very simple to install and get up and running. And one thing I really like about it is you don't have to enter your password all the time. You can put in a PIN code instead. And that's a big deal when it comes to a password manager when you're unlocking them multiple times per day.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it's good. I'm using the vendors app at the moment, so I don't have a password manager on there. And I can't decide whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, if you know what I mean. I don't know whether I'm happy with that decision yet.
Yeah, for me, I think when I was going through the worst part of I hate Apple and all things Apple related, and I didn't want to just be completely embedded in the platform in case I needed to leave, it's that independence, and we've said repeatedly on this podcast, the cost of buying your way out. I want to know what that is right now, rather than panicking if all things go even more wrong.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm a little into it because I've got my family onto it and I'm sharing stuff with them, and I think the pain of moving them as well as me.
It's something you may need to face someday, though.
No, I don't disagree. don't disagree. It's been hard enough getting them to use a password manager as it is, to be fair.
That's fair. I think that was fun. I mean, it's interesting. If we do this again in a year's time, A, will it change? And B, should we be more specific about it? It's a home Mac. It's a work Mac.
My Macs are, I just have a Mac. All my devices are functional operating systems are for work and pleasure.
I should have done the first 5 apps I installed on Linux, shouldn't I? That would have been.
Yeah, I might have struggled with that one. Maybe we do what's the 5 apps we couldn't live without on our iPhone?
Yeah, that'd be interesting. You can put that in the show notes for the future.
Okay.
App of the week.
App of the week. Go on, do it.
Not an app. It's a book. So in keeping with my hardcore I'm against everything Apple, I of course was suckered into immediately buying David Pogue's Apple, the First 50 Years book. I bought it from Waterstones. It cost me the princely sum of £35. It's quite a volume. I got to say, it's like this thick. There's a few inches of paper in there. So 608 pages to be precise. So yeah, it's quite a book. I was inspired to buy it by watching the CHM YouTube documentary on the first 50 years of Apple, and David Pogue gets a bunch of people up on the stage, and I just thought, yeah, you know what? I do have a lot of nostalgia for the company, if nothing else. I'm very interested in this period of the history. I wouldn't call it my identity, but I think I invested a lot of thought about Apple. Hell, we've got a podcast over the last few years, so I don't think it's out of character for me to pick up something like this, and I'm looking forward to reading it.
Yeah, so I have equally ordered the book. I haven't got mine yet. I think it comes this week. So I'm quite looking forward to it, actually. I listened to a review. I think it's good. Yeah, I think it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. And apparently there's like photos in here of stuff that never got released. And it kind of had Apple's blessing because nobody else is really doing this book. So I think that's kind of cool. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Federici and co were at the CHM Computer History Museum thing in California when it launched. So obviously it has some underscored blessing from Apple.
Yeah, so I think it's good they are, because they are acknowledging their 50th anniversary. So it's good that if they're not doing something that somebody else is, I think that's quite cool. So I'm looking forward to it. And David Pogue was one of the first 4 reviewers that got the original iPhone when it came out. So he's been on their beat for a long time, so I think it's going to be good. I'm really looking forward to it.
Just before I move on, I sent you a link in the week for a YouTube video from Jeff Geerling about first laptops, and you haven't got around to watching it yet, and it'll give you some feels, Chris. There's some laptops in there that both you and I absolutely loved from back in the day, so if I can remember, I'll put the link in, but go and watch it. It's only 5 minutes.
I am such a bad person. I've been away on work quite a lot this week, so I just haven't had spare time. And I'm feeling bad about it because I'm not playing any games, I'm not reading any books, and I'm doing all the things I don't want to do. So I need to work out how I get work-life balance back into touch.
But for Thing of the Week, you can tell us about Alien Ant Farm.
So I put this in there. Have you heard the band Alien Ant Farm?
Of course I have. Smooth Criminal.
Early 2000s. And I put on Smooth Criminal for my kids. And they both really loved it. And I got them into Alien Ant Farm and Smooth Criminal, so I was quite pleased with myself.
You didn't say this was Michael Jackson's song originally, then?
They know it's Michael Jackson's originally, because we also did Beat It by Fall Out Boy as well, which is an awesome cover of Beat It. And they both enjoyed it. And we were just in the car, and when you've got your kids in the car and they're at the age where they've got a phone, and they go off into their music and add a song on that you're playing into their things so they can listen to it in the future. So I thought that was a bit of a win. So I just thought I'd go with something different this week. But it's something that I enjoyed, that both the boys liked a song that I really like. So it was good.
Parenting win, eh?
Parenting win. And you want them to listen to a range of music, and this was just something completely different that we hadn't had in the car for a long time. So there you go.
Fair enough. I think we can call that a show, Chris.
Yeah, I think so. So if anyone wants to get in contact with us, Rod is at g5maniac@marston.scot. I'm also on Marston, and I'm at _CJP at marston.social. You can watch on YouTube by going to our website and click on the YouTube link. The website is wakefromsleep.com. Or you can drop us an email at wakefromsleep@protonmail.com.
Talk to you next week, Chris.
Cheers, Rod.